Are we going to just continue to be treated like cattle, bullied, rude treatment?
We were completely horrified and shocked at what had happened to my father when we learned of the incident.
Well, that was the attorney and the daughter of the man that was dragged off that United Airlines flight. His attorney says that he has a severe concussion, a broken nose, and he lost 2 teeth. A lawsuit will be filed once an investigation is done. Meanwhile, the CEO of Delta is defending the practice of overbooking flights. I want to go to the former head of Spirit Airlines, Ben Baldanza, who also agrees. You know, it's sort of frustrating because I'm a capitalist, but I watched as the airline industry in a decade went from 9 big carriers to 4. I watched them park airplanes so that the planes that they did fly were always full. These are smart things to do. And then the overbooking thing, so that when someone says, hey, I can't make the flight, you give it to someone else. But the person who misses the flight is charged a fee for changing it. I get that. You've taken advantage of all of that stuff. But where do you draw the line so that capitalism and your industry itself doesn't get a bad image?
Well, thanks, Charles, and it's great to be with you. I'm glad you're a capitalist, too. The thing here that I think is really important to note is that this was not an overbooked situation. The plane was full with paying passengers, and then late in the process, 4 crew members from Republic Airlines said that they had to get on the plane to take a flight the next day. And it was because of having to put crew members on the plane that the gate crew there in Chicago was put in the really unfortunate position of having to pull people off the airplane. So I don't think you can blame overbooking for this.
So the crew was late. The crew was late, and then through a series of events, somebody gets bloody nose, missing teeth, and that's whose fault is that?
I think it's quite honestly, I think it's the fault of Republic Airlines, and I know that sounds strange, but there was a Republic crew that needed to take a flight out of Louisville the next day, and they sent their crew to get on that plane to Louisville. And somebody at Republic clearly knew they were sending that crew to the gate, but they didn't get there until after the plane was boarded. Now, I can tell you that airport agents at most airlines are quite good at handling situations like this before the plane's booked, and many customers are actually quite eager to give up their seat for a free trip or some cash or something if their time is flexible. But once you're boarded on the plane, getting pulled off is a different thing. And had that gate crew had the ability to create the 4 seats for the crew members before the flight got boarded, I don't think we ever would have had this issue. I think it's because the crew showed up late, the gate agents didn't know what to do, they couldn't get 4 people off, and then when they called in security, that's when all hell broke loose.
Right, so there was a series of systemic issues here that are going on, because I've been on planes that have waited for crew members, and so none of this is unusual. There should have been issues or preparation for all of these particular things happening. Someone being late from a crew, paying off the passengers, not having a limit. I mean, I understand the industry limit is $13,550, something like that. They only went to $800 or so. So ultimately, the lawyer for this doctor saying that he says it's an indictment not just only for United Airlines and the industry itself, but the way perhaps businesses are now treating their customers in general. Do you see something like that? Do you see a shift where, because it does feel like this is happening, where we pay for our baggage, we pay for changing our flight. There have even been ideas tossed out there from your industry of paying for toilet seats.
Well, you know, clearly no one should be treated the way Mr. Dow was treated. There's no question about that. The issue is this process escalated far beyond what it should have. Getting 4 people off a plane when you do it when they're still in the gate is not that difficult a thing to do. Again, most people are interested in that. You said you've been on planes where they're waiting for crew before. Please remember, this was crew not for the flight the people were taking. The pilots and the flight attendants were on the plane, and the plane was loaded with paying passengers. It was crews that needed to be in Louisville for the next day. There were a lot of ways that crew could have got to Louisville. They didn't need to pull people off the plane to do that.
I agree. It wasn't that far away. They could have took an Uber and saved a lot of money and embarrassment. Before I let you go, Ben, are you satisfied now with what you're hearing from the CEO of United? And do you think there'll be real changes that will, you know, maybe put a new focus or a renewed focus back on the customer?
I hope that they do that. And you mentioned the $1,300. That's actually a governmental limit of what a customer can claim. United could have offered them a lot more if they wanted to. And Mr. Munoz, in his interview on Good Morning America, I think had exactly the right tone, and he talked about changes in terms of the authorities that the gate agents would have and the way they would think about these things. But letting crew members or letting, employee travel create such a brand disruption for you, I think is a real challenge for an airline. And it seems to me now like Oscar Munoz gets that and is going to address it appropriately, I hope.
Yeah, I think they'll be teaching this in business school courses for many years to come. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Charles.
Okay.
Great to be with you.